What's up everyone, Speedy here. In this 2v2 video, we're going to be doing 2 live games as well as 1 replay review, so let's get right into it. Okay, here we are in game number 1. Gonna soft cheat on the kickoff. Team wants to stay committed, that's fine. Get the bump there. That way teammate has an opportunity. Try to get a soft touch to the corner. We get a bump. We're okay. A little awkward, so I'm actually going to back off. Rotate back a little bit, that way I'm in a better spot. Doing okay so far. W for teammate. Just a decent touch. Opponent's trying to commit for the bumps. It's very obvious, so. For the bumps, I see teammates wanting to go, so I'm going to let him go. If he wants to stay up, like, even though it doesn't do anything. Sometimes he doesn't have vision of me. And doesn't really seem to have a lot of awareness, so that's fine. But he wants to play up a lot, which is okay. What you do in this situation is you just play back and you just watch. Here, just be careful about getting dusted. So he needs to be careful about committing for that kind of touch. This is rotate back, make your play, make it quick and effective. Nice, good shot. So you want to be able to make your play quick and effective, so you make your play, do what you need to do, and you just get out. Don't loiter around, rotate out, grab boost, do the smart things, and you'll put yourself in better positions here. Turn back so you're facing out to in. Now I can go in to out, kind of wait. It's kind of a bit awkward. Teammate's in a spot where he can chow this. Pop it back for teammate. I rotate back left. Give myself some space to work with. It's actually a really poor touch. Grab pads. Take a cut set, that's fine. I'm actually gonna get myself back a little bit. That way I can be back post and be in a safe spot. For the immediate shot. Thing wants to take, that's fine. Rotate back. Nice. And get a goal. Okay. There, it's just about being patient. What you want to do, especially in solo queue 2s like this, same thing applies to 3s. You want to be patient about when you go. Here, just use rear cam, just kind of be aware of where the opponents and everyone is in relation to you. There, just avoid getting the cut there. It's going to bounce off corner. It's all good, man. Yeah, he honestly could have rotated back this and been fine. I don't know why he rotated that same direction. All good, though. Go for the pressure on the bump plate. And just rotate out. You see how, like, immediately I make my play? Even if it's not going to score, you make your play quick. Try to grab pads. Just be in a position where I can grab plenty of pads. In a good spot. Missed my play, that's fine. Let's rotate. You see I'm like grabbing plenty of pads. Got to play for the immediate shot attempt. Here, quick speed flip, that way I'm up to speed. Rotate back to a safe spot. Teammates are going to need to cut that, that's fine. I'm going to pop that. A lot of these plays I just can't safely commit to. And just play safe. Be aware. Nice. GG. There really is just fundamentals. Even if it's not flashy, even if it doesn't like necessarily get you a lot of goals right away, just being aware of basic movement, basic rotations, some of the more basic fundamentals puts you in a good position and puts you in positions where you can win a lot. So like in these ranks, like we have a GC, I'm mid champ 2 right now, and obviously just holding my own, doing well this season. And one of the things you want to do as we go into game 2 is you want to just kind of like recognize, you want to recognize each teammate and each of the 2 opponents on the opposite team, what type of playstyle they have pretty early on. Get an idea of how they play. So like here, they're going for bumps. Rotate back, grab pads. Would like teammate to go there. That's nice. Bump him. Now we have a good position to work with. Nice pass. And you see, by getting the bump play, interrupting the opponent's momentum to be able to make a play, and then you just simply get yourself to a good position as your teammate does the same, there's a fluidity that starts to form, and that's what you want. Gonna bang that up. It's a good cut from the opponent. It's actually gonna roll down. Place for the 50. Teammate should have a good opportunity for that. Can't really safely go here. It's a free opponent. I'm quite bumped. That's my fault. I wish he had called that he was going to go for that. Did not know he was there. All good though. Just going to play this forward. Get a touch that's going to softly kind of bring it middle. Team is going to see that I'm rotating back. There. Touch towards the corner. Try to force the opponent. By doing that as first man, what you're doing is you're forcing the opponent into a position where they have to hit it one way. Makes it easier and more predictable for you to work with. Make my play. Grab boost. Nice, doing well. Can't really safely commit. That was really poor. I need to not be missing that. All good though. Just nice pressure to work with, and teammate falls up. Nice shot. And you see how, like, you make your play, you put pressure, and you immediately leave. And the goal there is that you don't necessarily have to be the one that gets all the plays, but you need to be one producing a lot of situations where plays can happen. And that's kind of the thing that you'll find in these game modes. So here, just rotate back, wait for teammate to go. Wish teammate kind of went there, that's fine. There we go. And here, just kind of be ready on the left. Teammate's gonna get beat here, so that's fine. Just kind of be patient. You wanna wait and just be ready for the shot. Opponent does not get good control there. That was a poor aerial. I don't need to be air rolling there. Go. Doing okay so far. I'll have to watch for this play. That's a really rough 50. Yeah, I could have played that better, honestly. You could have just waited for the 50. Been totally fine. They're trying to play a lot of 50 reads, which is fine. It's a good dunk there. Grab this mid boost, turn back, be ready for teammate. Put shot pressure on, even if it's not perfect shot pressure, it just puts pressure on them. That's what you want to do. Here, just put yourself in a good spot. Try to play this out to in. Teammate is playing a little too passive for my liking. If he was rotating normally, it would have been a little bit safer to work with. Here, shortcut the challenge. Run the bump play. Rotate to the pad here. There we go. We get big boost. Even though I get bumped, you see how by like early jumping, it just puts it in a position where they have to, now they have to let go, and they run out of time. So that's another win. And win just playing fundamentals. It's not flashy. Thank you. Let's do... That was fun. It's not flashy, but it gets the job done. Okay, here we are in the replay portion of the video. And this is an unfortunate loss. We had some nice flashes, but honestly just couldn't convert. Yeah, this is kind of like an awkward angle for me. I probably realistically should have just kind of left it. Just grabbed pads. But I thought I saw an opportunity. It's just unfortunately once I realized it, I was like, yeah, I just played that pretty poorly. Could have just honestly rotated out, and my teammate would have likely, most likely turned in a little bit earlier. So let's see. He's like, this is something I noticed him doing all game, is he played super deep as a second man. Like every time there was a potential offensive opportunity or a cross play or something, that he would always, as you're going to see, he would always stay really far back. And the times he does challenge, it was usually too late. So here it's kind of like he's so far back, and realistically I shouldn't have gone for it this way. I played that poorly. It's a good thing he gets the cut here. So here at this point I start kind of cleaning things up a little bit. I'm like, okay, let me just make sure my rotations are okay. I see my opponent is kind of like covering that back, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go for the bump play there, try to play quick. And I see I'm on the right of the teammate. I'm just kind of being aware of the opponents. They do a good job of bumping. There were a few times where there could have been potential shots, but just honestly, it wasn't really actually a shootable. There's like a fake opportunity. It's not really an opportunity. It just wasn't really like an actual opportunity. Here, I'm like, okay, when we bring it to the corner. Unfortunately, when he lands, I didn't realize the guy actually had supersonic speed, so he insta-killed me there. So I was like, all right, no problem. Once I spawned left, I was like, all right, let me just get myself to a good spot. Try to make sure I keep picking up pads. It's something I did really well this game, and really most of my games is very good about trying to get pads. This is super naked. It's just really awkward position. There's not a lot I could do. Could have played this differently. If you want to like, it's a fortunate bump here. Is honestly just stay grounded and just turn around. I don't have to like do this movement. Teammate making that touch isn't necessarily helping either, because what it does, it's a soft doink into their second man, which is literally ready for that, which is what makes it easier for him to get possession. If the ball were just slower, it would have been a little safer. Here I'm like, okay, I need to boom it away. I need to get us out of this situation. This is way too awkward for both of us. So I grab pad, grab the big boost. I'm like, okay, now we have a good position to work with. We have space. I'm like, okay, now let's move things up a bit. Unfortunately, teammate missed a very open net, and at this point, when I'm kind of like forced to commit, just can't really get back in time. Could I have played it differently? Yeah. The thing I could do differently here is just honestly like it's difficult because it's realistically you're not trying to be directly behind your teammate, because it's not a good idea to just try to follow your teammates' movements. You want to be kind of able to cover a larger zone of coverage. So if I'm following my teammate here, our zone of coverage on this field is literally just this like third of the field. Because I'm like facing out to in, and I'm going out to in facing the midline here, I'm in a position where I am, if the opponent or if the teammate does get at least some kind of touch that goes in this direction, I can follow it up and I can try to put pressure with the shot. Unfortunately, he kind of just makes it super awkward. Exactly how did he do it? So leading up to this, it's free play. He jumps way, yeah, two things. He jumps really early, and he's also jumping way to the left. He honestly could have been to the right and had a completely easy opportunity for that shot. And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of a rough position because my momentum was already taking me there. The opponent team was pretty decent. I can't remember. They may have had a grand champ. Yeah, Keef was a grand champ. I don't remember about Normu or Snormu. They might have been potentially like a high C, like, you know, C2, C3 or something, but I don't know. We get a reset there, and I go for the bump play. Realistically, probably didn't have to go for the reset, but still okay. Just trying to put pressure on, do something, you know. Here, I get beat. It was just a pretty crappy beat. I'm trying to rotate back because now it's a forced 1v2, and I'm trying to play pads here. And when I turn, it's just I turn losing all my momentum, and the ball's momentum and the player's momentum is in a position where they can follow it up. So it's a mistake on my part. I should have been a bit more careful there. But being in a 1v2, it's not ideal. You want to be careful about putting your teammates in 1v2s, especially in the higher ranks. The more you put your teammates in 1v2s, the more your opponents are going to capitalize on it. Typically, people are good enough to where they either play ones, so they understand 1v1 situations, so they can play patient, they can play smart, and really make things harder for you as a defender. They can do a lot of things that are just really dangerous. So here, just trying to play patient. What I'm trying to do is be very patient and also minimize boost wastage. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing essentially what's called hovering, and it's a kind of softer version of it. I'm not doing like a perfect hover, but I'm just trying to put myself in a position where it forces the opponent that's trying to get a reset to actually like reset it away and gives us like a free clear. But you see how much boost I had? I had 32 boost. I had a third of my boost tank. So going into that, I only used half of my boost. That's good boost like usage and conservation. And here, just waiting, and then teammate gets a good clear. So things like this, you do want to be careful of. So I'm in a position here, I follow it up. And this is like a small detail that you do want to learn how to do. Learn to use your cameras. Be aware of your side camera. You see how I was checking my side camera? Because if the opponent was closer, this potentially could have been a very different play. I would have had to watch for the bump. But because I had all this free space, I knew I was like, okay, I'm in a position where I can try to essentially force the play, and teammate does a good job of forcing here from the left lane into the center. And then, of course, the opponent here, Keef, is kind of awkward. They try to cross it, but unfortunately just don't get a good clear. And you follow up for the shot immediately after. So, fortunately, lose this kickoff. And then teammate, of course, misses again. It's all good. It's kind of a rough game. You know, it's not much I could do. I mean, I did my can, but just, you know, here, this is good clear. I didn't exactly play for the miss there. Teammates also back once again, so you're going to see in this position. Teammates very, like, you see how far back they are from the play? And here, like, if it's not bad, but if they're just a little bit, like, closer to the play, they would be in a position where it makes sense to actually commit. The problem is like, and this isn't just like, I'm not like ragging on this dude at all. It's just a general statement. When you're second man, you want to be really, and I made this mistake too, don't worry. When you're second man, you want to be really careful about trying to commit for a challenge when two things are happening. One, when the ball is going towards your goal side, and two, when your opponent has momentum with the ball towards your goal side. So in this situation, it's a clear situation. He's going to have the beat. The momentum is in Keef's favor, and that's why this ball is being pushed this direction. That's also why Dark Show lost this particular play. Especially as second man, it's very dangerous. So here I'm like rotating back. I rotate wide because I'm like, okay, I'm in a position where I need to get boost and I need to be able to kind of follow up for future misses from the teammate and potential opponents. So I'm like, okay, I need to kind of just make sure I'm playing carefully. Here, just trying to put pressure. But again, like you see, like teammates playing really passively. I'm trying to do what I can to create opportunities. And there's only so much I could do against two defenders that are being patient. Like this, if he's closer, could have gone. And if he doesn't go, at least put pressure. Like he's playing as passive enough, and he's kind of just, it felt like he's just kind of like apprehensive. I wouldn't say scared, but just like it felt like he was apprehensive. Here, just placing for the 50. I made this more awkward than I needed to, honestly. I didn't really have to do this. Realistically, I could have actually like backed off or just kind of like gone for the touch here and left. Once teammates kind of there, and now I'm just kind of like, okay, you want to take it, but and then he's just like very much totally backed off again. He was like totally in the back of the field. I was like, okay, so definitely really tricky. Just we had no like real off like specific offsets of pressure. Opponent's going for a bump there. It's not really doing anything. Teammate does get bumped. I cannot play for that miss. Realistically, I'm playing in the flow of the game, knowing that this guy's likely going to get a hit, and he misses. A miss there, like, and plus it's not a shootable angle. Unless you get a god touch or like some crazy insane double tap, it's just not a goal. Don't go there. Getting goal line pressure here is good. Like getting that pressure here is fine. You do want to be careful. And see, like immediately after this, I'm able to get a bump on the teammate, or bump on the opponent rather. And it's still like teammate misses again, which is unfortunate. Misses a second time and then gets scored on, which was the last goal in the game. And at that point, I'm like, okay, you know, this is just a rough game. You know, do what you can, but try to just keep trying to play all around. You know, play well, create opportunities for yourself and the teammate. I leave the teammate the mid boost there because I'm trying to kind of open up avenues of play. Because if I take that boost when I don't really have an angle that I can actually attack, it's not going to add layers to our offense here. I can't really go there, so I fake challenge. Here I pop the ball across just to buy us time. Again, just I'm trying to think about buying us time. Teammate gets a touch, or at least like an attempted touch, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. Here, just trying to bring the play forward. It's not a great touch, honestly. Realistically, an alternative is just being patient because the opponents, there was space. Smormu was going towards their corner, and Keith hadn't really gotten like ready to actually get his momentum towards the ball. So his ball side rotation wasn't really there yet. So there was a small opportunity I could have had. Here, I kind of rushed myself. I'm trying to go for like a crazy quick shot. Just didn't have to do that. Honestly, could have just gotten either control touch or just like a quick power slide cut and been fine. Opponent does a good job of getting that touch. Here, I'm like, okay, well, just try to stay in line here. And then just try to stay ready. It's a good save from the teammate. I did not need to come off wall there. I actually made that more awkward than I needed to. So I'm like, okay, let me grab pads. You see how like immediately after my play, I'm just grabbing pads, using those pads to get momentum. So once I get the big boost, I can make my play, get in and out. Keith does a good job clearing. At this point, I kind of realized it's like, yeah, game's kind of over. We had literally no presence, just didn't do really anything. Keeps like, okay, now he slows it down. I'm covering for the potential shot, try to force him wide. Even if the game's over, still just like, okay, just trying to have and apply good technique. And at this point, the game's completely done. Then they get a clear shot. But overall, takeaways is just you want to be careful about second man rotations. If you're second man, try to be careful about playing, like especially behind the midline. So generally you want to play by like what we call the 70-30 rule. There is a point where this is like a good safe line right here. So this pad right here, this pad right here, and this pad right here. Every map has the same identical, like every standard map rather, has the same identical actual pattern here. So this far line here is always a good way for you to recognize this is a 70%. And anything past this is the 30% range. And anything behind this would be like the 70% range. This doesn't have to be exact, you know, it's not exactly 70%. It's probably closer to like 60 to 70, but just use this as a reference point, as like a rough reference point to just know like whether or not you're ready to commit. because there's going to be a lot of situations where you need to be able to recognize with momentum if you're moving one way or another, or if you're just simply rotating, to know like whether or not you're actually going to be close enough to actually commit. Because in situations where the ball's going to be bouncing like this, if you're here, you're in a position where you very much can easily contest for a shot play here. So if you're like my teammate in this situation where you're like back here, you have no follow-up. So I can try to produce all the plays I want as an offensive player. I can try to produce all of the offensive plays I possibly can. But if there's no follow-up to any of it, unless I score immediately and there's no follow-up, that's it. We just lose possession. And that's what happened this game many, many times. So just things you want to be careful about. Really, ideally, just be very conscious of that. It's something that in 2v2s and 3v3s, 3v3s, it's not as much of a problem because 3 people, you can fill in the blanks a lot more, fill in the gaps rather, a lot more when it comes to rotations. But 2v2s, it's a lot more open fielding. Different in 1v1s because it's a direct duel, so the way you play in ones is much different. But the things you learn in ones allows you to play really well overall. Like, for example, I have a lot of experience in 2s, much more experience in 1s, of course, as a 1s main, but the things I've known in 2s is just good rotational play. Among quite a few other things in my experiences, and having played like quite a lot against GCs and GC friends and people that are quite high skill level, it's taught me a lot in terms of like just being aware of like, make your play, make it count, and get out. You know, make it count, get out, and then if in doubt, rotate out. And just, you know, make your play, grab pads. Big boost, for example, you can grab pads and be ready to rotate, you know, be ready to cover. These are just little fundamental things that add up. The more fundamentals you add to your toolbox, the more of these tools that you can apply in game, and more of them you'll eventually be able to create winning interactions with. That being said, if you want me to review your games, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Speed D Man out.